have a whole new camera set up, and I'm normally sitting over there now, and the battery died on me after having like the whole camera overheated. So I'm not really sure if my settings are off, because what I heard is that there's people that use this same camera to stream for over 8 hours, and so I shouldn't have any overheating issues. So I don't know what I got to do there. But as I dive in, I want to talk about, this is the very last haul video for December, and if you don't know me and this is the first time we're meeting, this is the stuff that I love to talk about at the end of the month, because it's usually, I've watched all of it. Now, there have been times where I've just ordered a whole bunch of stuff, and especially in a big sale, and I just not able to get through all of it, and so I'll just knock that out and give my opinions or maybe my thought process into why I bought it. So I did a sale haul video earlier this month. I'll link that at the end if you want to check it out. But these ones here, I've watched everything here, and we're going to dive in. Now, for the most part, very happy with everything that I purchased. I was disappointed by a few things, and we're going to dive in, but they're not huge disappointments. But overall, just a good end of the year wrap up. And as we dive into 2025, as everyone's been saying, physical media is dying. 2024 was a huge year for me. I don't know if it was for you, but there's been so many movies that it would have been normally a day one, but I kind of put off till later to, and so I ended up getting some of these a little bit later, and some of them were upgrades of movies that I had wanted to upgrade. So that's what we're focusing on next year is the year of the upgrade. This one here is the very first one, National Treasure. I had this on DVD, and every single time we watched it, I ended up usually watching it in here, having a good experience, and the rushing out to get this was never really high on my list, and then they don't have them in stores anymore, out of sight, out of mind. I finally saw it. It just popped up. Amazon recommended it to me. It was on sale, so I grabbed it, and just an overall fun experience. If you've not seen this one, Martin Lawrence, Steve Zahn, they both want to be cops. There's something that happens. Well, one of them was a cop, but then he's not a cop anymore. Something happens. They don't like each other, and along the way, they end up having to be security guards. And as there's the security guards wanting to be cops, they have to investigate this crime, and just overall good time. And early Martin Lawrence, early 90s into the early 2000s, I think Martin Lawrence was just hilarious, and this is just one of my favorite go-tos. Now, this is something that it came out this year. It came out in December, and this was a day one pre-order for me, so I'm glad I got this one, and it's Legends in the Fall. So this one here is the 30th anniversary. Now you get the double Big Ugly banner. I talk about this all the time. The 4K Ultra HD plus digital and the 30th anniversary. So you get both of those. It's kind of whatever. I've just become so used to it, but I hate the Big Ugly banners. But then when you come into the Blu-ray, you take the slipcover off, and this is just going to go in the slipcover box, is you have a bigger 30th anniversary banner instead of just kind of some sticker or something. But either way, it's all around fine. I like this. This is a little bit different than what we had on the Blu-ray cover art, but the 4K here, this is the same thing that we had and we saw on the VHS cover. So it's something that we've seen it before, so nothing new there. And then here in the artwork, you didn't get... you got a digital code, but you didn't get the Blu-ray with this, but you have the artwork there. So I will take artwork on the disc over the silly banner that I complain about all the time. If they're going to throw that on there, as long as we're getting some disc art, I'm a big fan of it. It just kind of adds to the whole aesthetic of what you're getting. And I know some people don't care. They just want to watch the movie. But for me, being a collector and just seeing some of those extra nice touches, really enjoy that all around. This was a great, enjoyable experience. Now, with as far as the special features that were on the Blu-ray, those all transferred over, and then there was one little extra something on here. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like a little commentary thing, or just a little tidbit of a thing that wasn't on the original Blu-ray. But other than that, everything else was the same, so you're getting a little bit extra there. And for a 30th anniversary, there was nothing overly special with this. The whole release having the Dolby Atmos, I thought was really sharp, because the scene when they first go to war and you see that, it's pretty epic. The fireworks go in the sky, and then you hear all the booming going on. That one right there on the Blu-ray, the mix, just very heavy in my surround sound speakers, and it was always fine. It's just kind of what I had, was used to. But having it on the Dolby Atmos and having a nicer separation and just, channel separation and hearing the sounds come from different speakers instead of just coming all out of the same speakers was just really nice. And just being able to enjoy that on the Atmos, I really enjoyed it. As far as the picture quality goes, I think the 4K on here is sharp. I think it's top notch, and you had some pretty decent film grain on the old Blu-ray. Now the 4K here amps that up, and so there's places where there was never film grain that there's film grain now. And with the Dolby Vision on my television, the different settings, I have Dolby Vision Bright, I have Dolby Vision Dark. I know not everybody has that feature, but on Dolby Vision Dark, all that went away. But then when I first popped this film in, that contrast was really, really like dark. And so on my other films that I watch, it was perfect. Like I had a perfect experience and I had it set just a certain way. And so I did have to adjust the contrast a little bit to get a good experience out of this. And then on the Dolby Vision Bright, it was just too bright. And then so all that this newer film grain that was in there was just really kind of not really bothersome, but like, you know, to see the heavy film grain in the background scene of like the stream of water was it just kind of took me out of the film a little bit. So I stopped and I adjusted it, and fixing my contrast on the Dolby Dark for this film, it's what gave me the better picture. And then when I watched some other films, you know, the contrast was out of whack again, so having to adjust it. So this one here, you know, all around, I think just top notch. I think the 4K was pretty good, but yeah, having that issue of now I have to have a setting on my TV. So what I did was I switched to the Dolby Vision Dark, and I have it set exactly for this movie, and then Dolby Vision Bright I have set for all the rest of my movies and the way I like to enjoy those. So this is one that, you know, I don't know, there might have been a contrast issue, but other than that, really enjoyable. Now, this is something that it came out this year, just came out, and it's one that, man, I was really looking forward to it. And so I'm really glad I got this, but I do have some thoughts, and overall, it was a really good experience. So I picked up the 4K Willow from France because, one, I was not happy with the steelbook that we got here. One, that was the only option. Two, that the price that they were asking for it. So for what we got and what we ended up getting, I think that price was absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that there was only one option for steelbook. If you don't like steelbook, or you're not a steelbook collector and you really want that movie, you're kind of forced into it. And it's just kind of sucky that Disney did that. So this one here, I did import it from France, and with paying the extra shipping and the VAT tax and all that stuff, I still came in a little bit cheaper than if I bought the steelbook brand new. Now, I think the steelbooks are a little bit less now, and I'm sure they'll drop more in price, but just the fact that we didn't get another version here was kind of sucky. But I love the cover art here, and the fact that, you know, they're coming out of the storybook, for me, just top notch. The fact that there's no big ugly banner, even though they still added the 4K Ultra HD plus Blu-ray, I think that just works. And because it kind of blends in with the entire thing. So then you have that. I really do love that cover. So as we come in here, you have some art on the 4K disc, but on the Blu-ray, it's just a standard blue. And with this, all the special features that are on the Blu-ray were the same ones that we've had before. We've seen them before in different formats, and after going through it, there was nothing new. So the price that they were asking for that steelbook here in America, I think is kind of asinine, because you weren't giving us anything new. There was no new commentaries. There was nothing there. Now, this one did have the Dolby DTS HD 5.1 in the French version, and in English, they had the DTS Digital 5.1 surround. So they had different versions of this, and it was a worldwide release. And so I suspect that all the versions are pretty much the same, all the transfers the same, because this Blu-ray is also region free. So importing it, a lot of times the 4K will be region free, but the Blu-ray will not be. But this one here, both were. So overall, I like it. It was a good experience. I just think it was overpriced for what you're getting. The quality of the picture was good. Like, there was a nice, good quality uptick, but it was a slight uptick. Like, if you look at them side by side, and I know there's been several people that have already reviewed this movie, and they've done the side by sides. And with that side by side, it's a noticeable upgrade, but not worth the price that they were asking for. It wasn't a night and day price. Like, you could still keep your Blu-ray and enjoy it. This one here, you're buying this because of nostalgia, because you love the film, or if you just really want to maximize your television and get the very best possible picture. So this one here, it's a really, really good 4K, but I would not call this a reference disc. There's no Dolby Atmos, there's no DTS:X on this. So in the better surround sound options, you're lacking. You're just getting what we had before. So other than that, I think it's just a really good 4K, and I enjoyed the experience watching it because I love this movie. I've watched it a million times, one of my all-time favorites. But this is definitely not at that higher price. This is not a day one, and I was kind of disappointed that they were asking that price with giving no extras. The Holdovers. Now, this is something that, it came up in my sale haul because I'd picked it up, but this was a watch that it was a first-time watch for me. And when this came out originally, all I ever remember was seeing the Blu-ray on the store shelves and seeing that image there. So this is a great movie. I really enjoyed this, but overall, I never picked it up because when I saw it, it was kind of like right around Christmas or like right after Christmas when I saw this. And it was something that I was like, oh, it looks like a modern dysfunctional Christmas movie where, you got the broken ornament there. And so I just figured it was just like family fighting type stuff. And man, I should have read the back of it because this was a great film. And so this is something that came highly recommended. Lots of people were talking about how they love this, or it was one of their favorite Christmas films of the year. Now, technically, it's not a Christmas film because it takes place, and this takes place in the 70s. But these boys here, they're at like a boarding high school type thing. So it's like they live at the high school, and Paul Giamatti is kind of a grumpy teacher, and he's left in charge of them. Where I forget her character's name, but she's the cook, and so they're left there for the 2 weeks to take care of these boys and kind of run the facility a little bit. And he's not a great person. And so along the way, these dysfunctional people kind of become friends, and it's really good. And it takes place over the 2 weeks of Christmas. And so by the end of the movie, all the kids are back. It's after New Year's. And so you can watch it any time during the year. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a Christmas movie, but in the season, 100%, it definitely falls because they all go back right after in the beginning of January. But yeah, this is just a great film. Now, they shot this one digitally, and then they used some different techniques to add some film grain and all kinds of other stuff to give you this look of the 70s, because that's when the film's supposed to take place. And I don't know the reasoning behind it. I'm not a filmmaker, but I have loved the modern films that are shot on older equipment. And I think that's just an amazing image. And I'm one that loves the film format. And so like even the newer stuff that looks absolutely amazing in 4K that was shot on film, just top notch. And so what I go to is, I don't know why they decided to use the digital camera on here. And this isn't the first time. I have several films in the collection now that are newer that were shot digitally, and then they added film grain and stuff to give you an older film look. So this one here, like I said, I think it's great. I think it looks good. The 4K is amazing. I think everything is there. But after a while, I kind of forgot about it. But in the very beginning, I was like, it looks like it's fake. It looked kind of like they added the film grain. Like it just had a look to it. And so I ended up looking it up, and that's exactly what they did. It was shot digitally, and they added stuff, and they did different techniques to give you a 70s vibe. So they nail it. But like I said, in the beginning, it just kind of felt like it was off. But by the end of the movie, I forgot all about that and just enjoyed it for what it was and really appreciated it. So this is a great film, great 4K. Now here's another one that I've been watching since I was a kid. I had the Blu-ray, and it wasn't until I had the Blu-ray that I realized that there was this whole thing, because as I watched this film originally, and it's Clue, and so this is something that's been out for a while, but I'm pretty sure it came out this year. If not this year, definitely came out last year, so it's a newer release. So I finally picked this up, and I love the artwork here. And it's something that a lot of the times I don't love the newer artwork, and I prefer the older movie poster, but being the 4K, they did not choose to let you, they didn't print anything on the back, so you could switch it over if you wanted. So you're stuck with this no matter what. And for me, I think it's a little disappointing. I'm not a fan if you do the slipcover one way and then you do the regular art on the cover there the exact same way. So for me, it would have been nice if they did this, and then here they printed off the original movie cover. It's a little nitpicky thing, but there are people that love collecting slipcovers, and having just a different image on both, I think is just sharp. And anytime I have the ability to switch over the cover and just to give you that image on the ones that I keep my slipcovers on, then I just think that's sharp. But other than that, the movie itself, it's a great 4K, but this is something that when I first saw it, I only watched it on VHS or even maybe on television back in the day, and there was the 3 endings, and so that's what most people kind of remembered. But it wasn't until like I was an adult and I bought the Blu-ray that it had the option to play an alternate ending. And then so I looked all that up to figure out why it was doing that. When they originally put this in theaters, even in your same town, every theater would have a different version of the movie, and it was just an incentive for you to go see the movie multiple times. And it was a gimmick, but I don't think I've ever heard of anybody ever doing it again. And so it was just something interesting. But my whole entire life, I watched this film with all three endings at the very end of the film. And that's just kind of how I took it. Like it was just how the charm was of the movie. It just kind of lifted you to an ambiguous ending. Like which one was it? It was just interesting. And it's also interesting that that's how it was on home video. And nobody ever told me that's how it was in the theater. And so it wasn't something I found out till the internet age that, yeah, so it's interesting to me that this movie has been loved by so many, even with that goofy ending with them all smashed together. So since I've had this on Blu-ray and now that I have it on 4K, the only way I do choose to watch this is with the alternate endings where they just kind of play a random one. So that's just my tidbit. But this was definitely done. This was a new remastered from a 4K scan of the original camera negative. And then you get the Blu-ray with the same stuff, but on the Blu-ray. And I think both are just top notch, just an all around good presentation. Really like this. And then with the Shout Select, you're getting some disc art here. And like I said, for them, I think that's just the bare minimum. The only thing I would have loved is some reversible art on the cover. But yeah, all around, love this movie, love this release, and I think it's a great 4K. Next one is Hush. Now this is something that, one, I absolutely love the film, and I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. It would have been a day one, but at that time, the holidays, everything, there was a lot of money going out, and so I ended up canceling my pre-order to get, to wait on this. And then when Christmas came around and all the sales were happening, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick that up because I was already buying stuff from Shout anyway, and so I'm glad I did. Overall, just a great experience. Now the shush cut that they added in here, which was the black and white, which is why when you can switch the cover over, you get the black and white there. That's something that I enjoyed the colorized version of the movie, and I don't mind black and white stuff, but I don't know if I was in like a weird mindset or the vibe wasn't hitting for me, but it just kind of had like a camera phone shaky cam kind of vibe. I don't know, and it really wasn't shaky cam, so it wasn't that. Like in the opening scene as it's going through, the way it was done in black and white, it just kind of didn't hit the same. And I like black and white films. I really enjoyed Godzilla -1. So it might just be me. It might just be the mood I was in. So I'm going to set aside time to rewatch that shush cut. And I did try to watch it right after I watched the first one. So maybe that's the issue too. So I'm going to take some time just to watch that version of it, turn all the lights off and just be laser focused in on it. Maybe with fresh eyes and a different take, I might enjoy it differently. But at first, I was like, something about it just kind of feels like they just turned to black and white. They didn't film it in black and white clearly, and wasn't that. And so and maybe the colors are off. I don't really know. Something about it just kind of didn't hit me right. But this one here is something it came out in December. It was a day one pre-order. I had to have this. I'm super excited. I'm glad to have it. And then rewatching it, looking forward to that too. And it is Demolition Man. So this one probably makes one of my top 10 favorite releases of the entire year. Great 4K, beautiful sound, the special features in here. Everything that they did, I think was top notch. The only thing I kind of griped about was, one, I liked that there was a little slipcover here and we didn't just have a standard box. I'm not a huge slipcover guy, but this art wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I know I'm not the only one in that boat, but it's okay for what it is. But if this was sitting on the shelf like this, it doesn't scream Demolition Man. So there's a million things that they could have done with this, or even like I said before, this image here. And I know this was probably supposed to be from the building image or whatever, but this image was on their uniforms and it was red. So even if they did something like that, or maybe this was the uniform, I don't know, something different. But either way, absolutely love this, and the fact that all the extras that it came with. But this is the weird thing. I'm not a sticker guy, so if they're going to keep giving us stuff like this, what am I going to do with it? And most people that buy this, they're not going to use this stuff, and so they're just going to keep it all together, because then, one, if they ever decide to sell it, it loses the value. Me, it's mine. I'm never going to sell it, so it's a thing. So I'll probably stick these on something at some point, but the 3 seashells thing, I'm like, whatever. But that one gave me kind of a chuckle. So there's that. But yeah, other than that, I think the release was top notch. But the sticker thing, I don't get it. I think it's silly. But if you like stickers, cool. But yeah, that goes into like the conversation all the time when we talk about these big premium sets. You know, I do get in the comments where people do love this stuff, but then I get in the comments where people think all the extras and the stickers and the tchotchkes are crap and it's just a waste of money. And so people complain about it in the comments all the time. So for me, not a fan of the stickers. I think they were stupid. Other than that, the whole entire release, the 4K, the sound, the Dolby Atmos on this, I think was just top notch. Yeah, this is all around a great 4K. Now here's something I picked it up from the thrift store. I'll put the thrift store stuff at the end. So this one here is Game Night. So one of my all-time favorites. I love this film. It's a newer film. It came out a few years ago, but this is something that, one, the big ugly banner's dumb. It says 4K Ultra HD there, but come on, like, what did you need that for? There's no Blu-ray or digital in here, so the redundancy of having it on the case, you know that this is a 4K, and then putting it there too on the artwork, I just hate it. It takes away from the art, and that's all you're getting. You're getting just a simple plain black disc, nothing special, but overall, just a good 4K, a good image. It's a newer film shot digitally, so it's going to look top notch. And it's just something, you know, every time I had wanted to see it, it was like probably around now. We go to the in-laws, it's on TV, or you can stream it because that's what they have. And so I had been watching it for the past couple of years there, and we didn't go there this year. And so I was like, oh man, I saw it on sale. I had to grab it. Glad I did because this is an all-time favorite. Love this movie. Now the next one here is something I grew up watching. It came out in the mid-90s. I had it on VHS. I had it on all the different formats. Right now I think I have the Blu-ray and the VHS only. But this is something that, you know, a lot of people love, Galaxy Quest. Now, I kind of find it funny. Now, I was never a Star Trek guy, and so I kind of joke, but I've seen on the internet, and I've seen in internet forums and places where they rank all the Star Trek films. This gets lumped in there as being one of the best Star Trek films or one of the better ones, and so I just always kind of think that's funny. But all around, just a great 4K and just a great presentation. Now, there was 3 aspect ratios for this film back when it was put in theaters, but I didn't see it in theaters, so it's something I never knew. And like, you know, when this came out, the internet was not as big as it is now, so having just access to that or having people just bombard you with information on YouTube wasn't really there. And so it's something you would have had to either look for or just kind of had to know. And so when this came out, I thought, and I know I'm not the only one in that boat, there's a few people that made videos on it, that maybe there's something wrong with the encoding and maybe the aspect ratio was messed up, because in the beginning there's a smaller TV playing because these characters were on television, and so they're playing their TV show from that on a small TV, so you have a small aspect ratio. And then in this film it goes to a smaller aspect ratio but larger than the first one, and so it doesn't fill up the screen all the way. And then it plays out, and then it, you know, when he meets the aliens, then he realizes that they're aliens, then it fills up the entire screen. So it's actually kind of smart and, just a really neat thing that they did. But since it's been on home video, this is the only time I've ever seen that, and they never put any sticker or anything like saying that, you know, first time on 4K, the 3 theatrical aspect ratios included. There's no information there. So I can imagine that people bought this and then just returned it to Amazon thinking that maybe their disc was broken. So that's something that, you know, to think about if they're going to do something like that. But I'm glad they did. It's just I didn't know about it, and so I had to look the information up, and it was just interesting, very interesting. Now here's something that I treated myself. This was an early Christmas present to myself early in the month of December, and it's because the box of Burt from Umbrella. So this is something, it's been out for a while, but I thought this was sold out for the longest time, or I would have tried to get it from Umbrella because they were doing their Christmas sale as well. But this is something that I paid the same price as it was on the Umbrella site through eBay. So this was an eBay purchase, and I got it brand new. But I love the discs in here. I'm trying to collect and buy every single Burt Reynolds movie there ever was. And so far, I have not been let down. On even some of the ones that people complain about, I still like them. So I was like, I'm becoming like a huge Burt Reynolds fan. And in the past, I had only seen these movies. So Cannonball Run 1 and 2. And I didn't even have the second one, but I had the first one on DVD. So this was a huge upgrade. And then the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. So that's a movie that I revisit at least once a year, and I had it on the Blu-ray. So this isn't a huge upgrade in the fact that it's, you know, Blu-ray to Blu-ray. I think it's top notch. So if there was any restoration or any differences there, I think it's a good looking Blu-ray. and overall just a fun film. So for me, having it all together and having the upgraded packaging and the umbrella, I just like the premium stuff. So the fact this is all together in a box set, I like it. So revisiting those was awesome. Stroker and Ace, love this film, never saw it before, and just, Ned Betty's in this one, and he's just a very underrated actor, and I know a lot of people know him from Superman, but yeah, all around great film, and I love the artwork on there. I just miss the old painted movie posters. And then this one here, The Man Who Loved Women. Now this was an interesting watch, and Julie Andrews is in this one. But if you haven't seen this one, he plays a womanizer. So it's like a romantic comedy, and he plays a womanizer, and then just everything kind of falls apart there. But yeah, really just a good pickup. I really enjoyed it, and having the Burt box, I'd like to get more Burt Reynolds films.
Too late now.
Now this one here, it was brought up recently on a live stream, but this is something that I kind of was reminded then, because I haven't had it in the collection. The wife doesn't like the movie, so the last few times I had watched it over the past 15 years, she complained, so we never had it. And it's John Cusack in High Fidelity. Now, Jack Black's in this film, and he's just top notch. Early Jack Black, I think that this film was pretty much made for him. But yeah, this is an all-around great film. And if you've never seen this, I would say this is a date night movie, romantic comedy kind of thing. But you have John Cusack, he owns this record store, and Jack Black is his friend / crappy employee, and really enjoyable there. But all around, he's really into vinyl and has all this music that he loves, and he attaches music to people, and he goes through his past loves and people that broke his heart, and the music or the songs that he connects with. Just a really enjoyable movie, and I connect with it because I kind of do the same thing with my life with movies, and there are definitely tons of movies that I have connections with certain memories of my life or people, and there have been times where I've been talking about a certain movie or release, and people have pointed out in the comments that, it seems like I had an emotional attachment. Even somebody was kind of negative once with it, and like comparing me to like a hoarder because I had an emotional connection to a person that gave me the movie, but I didn't go into detail about that. And so I just always kind of connected with this film that way, and it was just an interesting thing that just an interesting thing how I connected with it, because I'm not a huge music person. I don't like music. I've talked about it before. I like music when it's attached to a movie and soundtracks, but even in then, I only liked a little bit that was in the movie. So if I buy a soundtrack, I almost never really listen to the whole thing unless it's instrumental. And so like there's songs that are pretty good songs, and I'll say it all the time. These are good songs, or that's a great song, or it's my favorite song. And my wife points out that I turn the radio off in the car. So unless I'm listening to a soundtrack, I don't really care for music. And so that's why I just kind of always thought this was funny that I connect to this, but it's because I do the same thing with movies. Now here's one that I was completely disappointed by. I really looked forward to it. I love the art. I still am going to keep this one, and it is the art over it, but I'm disappointed for a few reasons. Now one, it's the package design. I'm not a huge digipack guy because they can get damaged so easily, but it was shipped through Amazon. Now I would have went through ESC editions because you can't get this through anybody else, but by the time I went to order it, it was all sold out. And so it is Robin Hood. Now I absolutely love the colors on here, and just an overall top notch, but the kind of got squished, and so damaged in shipping, and they're all sold out now. I'm sure there's some more on Amazon, but you couldn't get this through Diabolic. You couldn't get this through Deep Discount. The only place I could find it was ESC Editions directly through France, which I could have ordered it from, but that was it. And so this one, it was all sold out, and so I got the damaged one. And it's kind of unfortunate because there was 3,600 of these. It's a numbered edition, and if they had used a little bit thicker cardstock for the box, it probably would have been okay. But this was shipped all the way from France, Amazon, in a little thin, flimsy cardboard envelope, and that's how my Nightmare on Elm Street was shipped from France, and some of the other ones that I got. And those ones came to me no issue, but those also used thicker cardboard stock and stuff. So it's one of those things that's kind of disappointing and lackluster. But then this was paper instead of cardstock, but they used pretty heavy duty stickers to hold it together. And so it's kind of rolling up now. And it's for a display piece. It's totally fine. But I got this for the art, and that's pretty much why. So you have the horse there. It's Kevin Costner. I think the art is top notch on this. It came with a booklet, so it's 100 Years of Robin Hood. Now, this is pretty much a great read, but it's all in French, and I don't remember any of my French from high school class there, so I had to use my phone with the Google Translator, the camera to kind of read through and skim through this stuff, but just overall great. And there's some things I didn't even know, but we'll cover that up there. On the back here, there's a really awesome movie poster for the Ribald Tales of Robin Hood, and they're topless women, or they're popping out of their shirts. And so just kind of a cool little movie poster. So that's something I want to track down now. But other than that, yeah, this was an overall cool release, and just unfortunately it came to me damaged. Now, where I was really disappointed was the color grade on it. I thought the 4K looked pretty good. There were some scenes that, you know, just the amped up 4K scan or just whatever, they amped it up. So there were some scenes in it that in the old Blu-ray, the faces had a little bit softer focus, or they were just kind of just out of focus enough where, not looking blurry, but just enough where it was just noticeable always on the Blu-ray. On the 4K, those scenes, those faces, they looked sharper, they looked clearer, they looked better. But then there was some close-up scenes, especially in the dark, that those faces did not look as good because the way they amped it up. So there's some good and bad about this 4K, but overall, my frustration was the color grade. I think I like the color grade better on the old Blu-ray, and I prefer that a lot more, even on the Blu-ray that's included with this. Now this one here, the Blu-ray was locked to region B, and so having the region free Blu-ray player, I could play it and access all this stuff no problem. The 4K disc was region free, but all around it's not a bad release. I just prefer the Blu-ray a lot more. And importing it from France, we never got anything like this here in America, so that's why I pulled the trigger on it as well. There was a UK 4K release a few years ago, and so that one, from what I understand, that was done from the original camera negative, and there was a new color grade on that one. So I'm interested to check that one out. And everything I was reading is they were saying that this is probably not the same. So I don't really know if it's that same color grade, but other than that, like I said, I think I prefer the original Blu-ray, but as far as the fact that I love this movie, I think it's top notch. I don't mind having this, and for me, I did pull the trigger on this one because of the artwork. So I'd be interested in tracking down that 4K, but it's out of print now and it's kind of overpriced. So it's something that I just haven't. I think the last one I saw was about $80 to $130. There was like 2 of them on eBay. So other than that, overall, not bad, but probably one of my most disappointing pickups for the year. And so then the next one here is something I absolutely love, and it is The Sixth Day. Now, this is something that I only had it on DVD, and every time I watched it in this room on the old CRT television, so I always had a pretty good experience with this. Now, that one, when we watched it downstairs on the 4K TV once in a while, and that one on the DVD, it just kind of looks fuzzy. It never looked as good as it looked in here, and so it just was never a big deal. But every time I'd watch it, it was a fresh watch. It wasn't on store shelves. It was one of those things that I just never really picked it up, so I never upgraded. Finally, this was on sale, or Amazon recommended it to me or something, and so I had to grab this one. But then as I watched the Blu-ray, enjoyable as it was, I was starting to notice that it didn't look as good on my 4K as some of the other Blu-rays, and this is an older one, and you have that indication by the gray down here. All the early Blu-rays and even HD DVD did the exact same thing about the time. It says Experience High Definition, so this like banner label they did. These are definitely early Blu-rays, and so even though this was new and shipped to me from Amazon, it's an older Blu-ray. And the technology they used to master this, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they just took the original DVD and just slapped this on the Blu-ray. I never looked into it. It looked okay, and I bet you on an older high-definition TV, this would look really good. But on the 4K, there were some scenes that I was just like, if there was a 4K put out of this and, a nice remaster, this could look really sharp. And this does make, probably my top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger film, or right close to it. It doesn't make my top 25 films of all time. It probably doesn't even make my top favorite 100 films of all time. But if we're talking about just Arnold Schwarzenegger films, it's probably high up there. And so this is one that if there was a nice big premium edition set, I probably would get it if there was some different artwork. because this one here, even though it's fine, and I love the original artwork most of the time, this one here, it always felt like that in the 90s, the Oakley sunglasses always had this like weird headgear stuff and these weird sunglasses. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like some kind of weird Oakley headgear thing, and I don't know. It works for the film, but if you've never seen this one, it takes place. There's self-driving cars. He's got his helicopter. He's got a remote control on his hand for the helicopter. So it's some interesting things. And then the cloning technology. And it was just that whole conversation around that time, just a few years or shortly around the time that this movie came out, they cloned a sheep, and they even mentioned that in this film. And so then they're also cloning people. So yeah, this one here, I love the film, but as I have the Blu-ray finally, I could definitely use a 4K, I think. All right, so now the next few here I picked up from the thrift store, and I didn't go big this month, but I traded some things in. I picked up some seasons of Mad Men. I got the first one on Blu-ray. Now, I saw the whole show a few times, but I never owned them in the collection. So grabbing season 3 on Blu-ray, so that was a nice pickup there, real cheap. And then season 2. So now I have the first 3 seasons on Blu-ray. Looking forward to diving into those, and then also dumping them on my Plex server. But this one here is the one that surprised the heck out of me, because I didn't know that it had a Blu-ray. Now, I only ever had this on VHS, and at one point I probably had it on DVD, but then throughout my life and how my life has changed, I didn't have it anymore. And so this is something that I just honestly just never thought it had a Blu-ray. I never remember seeing it. I never picked it up. And so seeing this in the store, I had to grab it, and it's Chain Reaction. If you haven't seen this one, it's a great film and a huge upgrade from the VHS. And so this one here, Keanu Reeves, Morgan Freeman, there's this whole conversation. They're making free energy, and they're doing that. And then obviously there's some like people trying to get the free energy, and then there's murder and explosions and stealing the technology and trying to blame it on Keanu Reeves. Overall, great film. High recommend. My family never buys me anything. They never buy anything off the wish list, because this is what I got for Christmas from the family. And it's something I enjoy, and I wear this, so I'll wear them. But these are hats I wear in the winter. So these are Scally caps, but these are from Boston Scally. So they're kind of a big deal, I guess. They're hard to get. And so this was a nice present, and I've worn these, and I don't usually wear them on stream. Because on the new camera setup I have, it's better with this new light and everything. But when I wear it, the brim kind of creates a shadow on my face, so I haven't usually worn these, so I'll be wearing them now. But yeah, this is something this is what I get for Christmas, and that's fine, but this is what I want. So I ended up buying this stuff for myself, and so technically it was like a Christmas haul, what I bought, but I usually don't go so heavy at Christmas, but just the way it worked out this year. And so yeah, let me know what you guys got, what you thought. Check out this video right here for the Christmas sale haul that I did earlier this month. And with that, remember to watch a movie today, and I'll catch you guys next time.